Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on the road again in conjunction with our good friends at Keel Radio and Town Square Media. We are in Bossier City, Great American Vapes. We are here at 4726 East Texas. Also being sponsored by our good friends at Boona Bean Coffee. We're going to visit with David during the course of the program, too, as well. Let you know a little bit about his coffee. It's great coffee that's in a couple places here, but he does send it out on the Internet. We'll visit with him a little bit. And we want to thank our big sponsor today, Conservative Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. They're located here in Bossier City. Here's the phone number, 318-584-7155. Very simple. Everybody likes to go on the Internet. You need radio to get to the Internet, though. ConservaIrrigation.com. ConservaIrrigation.com is your sprinkler system caretakers. All right, never worry about your sprinkler system again, and it doesn't matter what kind of sprinkler system you have. They'll take care of it. They also will come out and give a free inspection. It's about $150 value. Not bad, folks. ConservaIrrigation.com. All right, one of the losers joins me. Representative Dodie Hardsgard. Thank you, Boo. By the way, good to see you again.
Oh, it's great seeing you. It's an honor. I think, is this the first time I've been on your show?
No. See how she forgets?
I think
Didn't you come visit with me at a pie place one time?
I did, but I wasn't on the air that day. You
didn't ever get on the air?
No, I didn't even. Really, I was just there to say hello and thank you for being the conservative voice.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, let me apologize.
Oh, no, that is quite all right. I had to earn that right.
All right. Well, I'm glad you can make it. Hey, talk a little bit about the session. I was very disappointed. And by the way, I had Taylor Barrow on yesterday, and I like Taylor. And I think Taylor has definitely been the speaker we needed at the time, because if Walt Leger was here, everybody here would be paying a hell of a lot more income taxes and things of that nature. But so Taylor did a lot of good things.
Yes.
I told Taylor I was disappointed in the vote because I felt like that helped some Republicans get over the top. But I hate that the liberal and the left are praising him, and the guys that fought are the ones getting beat up. And you saw the names: Alan Seabaugh, Cameron Henry, Lance Harris, Blake Negas, Sharon Hewitt, all get beat up for really making the right stand.
Well, I'm blessed to have the speaker that we do. I mean, he's the first independent speaker that goes back 50 years that we could find. He's a very good.
Well, I like Taylor.
Oh, I know you do. Very good, kind man, and I feel his position is different from mine. Mine is to represent my district, and I believe Republicans should have a few things in common. And that's the reason we are Republicans, to be conservative. We believe in a republic with smaller government, less intrusion in your lives. So that's what I came to Baton Rouge with. That's what I still stand on, as does my district. And disappointed, absolutely. But the people who voted for it and worked hard on it, they're my friends, and they have to answer to their constituents for it. They really believe that. I think they really wanted to go home, as did I. But again, I stand on a solid foundation that we did not need to raise a dime to be able to fully fund TOPS, health care, higher ed.
You know what's going to be? It's going to be sad in a way. They raised these taxes, and I want people to put this in perspective. Yeah, it was around $500 million that was raised at the end, because the Revenue Estimating Conference just recognized over $500 million. But throw in the $300+ million in income taxes.
346.
That's right. So you had $850 million.
Absolutely.
Okay, of raised taxes from the state, and everybody needs to realize that the state swiped the Trump tax cut from us, and the money goes to the state now. It's not that we were going to be paying, because they would say, well, we moved the money from here to there. But the fact of the matter, state government grew by another $850 million. And I got to tell you, how do we pay for that later? And nobody wants to talk about that. As far as stabilize the budget, you can't stabilize a spending problem.
You can't.
You can't.
And when your Department of Health gets more federal dollars, which is our tax dollars, people, when they say it's only federal dollars, remember that's your dollars too, than any other state per capita, with the worst deal, with the worst outcome, it is not the revenue. It's the way we serve and care for our citizens. And that model, the service delivery model for the Department of Health, has never been updated since Huey Long implemented it. And be honest, no governor's ever tackled it. And so when I met Dr. Laura Bracken, who is an expert in that field and just retired from the Department of Health. We met with the governor's staff and gave him an outline of what you can do to update that service delivery model and not only save $1 billion overnight, but she said billions, and serve everyone effective and efficiently. It went nowhere. And so it's really disappointing to me. And
It's got to be.
It is, because I know that now the governor's going to have a huge surplus and be prepared for, he's got to pay for Medicaid expansion. We have 1.7.
Let me give you the overall budget, state and federal money.
Yes.
When he came into office, was a little over $27 billion. You ready? That was 15-16 budget. The budget now is right at $34 billion. Now, I don't care what you say. That's an increase. I don't care if you took federal taxes, which is our money. I don't care if you raised the state taxes. That's still our money. So an increase in budget is about $5.5 to $6 billion. Nobody can argue with the numbers. The numbers are there. Also, while this is going on with the Medicaid expansion, we now have a GDP, not 1, but 2 years that is in decline.
Yes.
And nobody's addressing that, and the governor doesn't address it. So here's my question for you: what taxes are he going to raise next year? What taxes will he raise next year? Because what taxes and fees are he going to raise next year? That ought to be. I'm thinking about putting up a $500 reward for the person that could call and let me know what taxes and fees he's going to raise, and if they get it right, I give away $500. Because I can tell you one thing he's going to do. You don't have to call a special session next year to raise taxes. And I hope Republicans, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the ones that gave in at the end. I hope they will understand enough is enough. No, I'm not talking about that guy.
Well, I hope.
I'm trying to help that guy right now.
It's going to be income tax. Since I've been elected and being on the Ways and Means, we have been a really strong force in killing what the so-called tax reform that our governor calls tax reform.
Oh, welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Glad to know my producer's on the road today. And Brandon, if I didn't throw you under the bus, man, you wouldn't know how to act. Anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Let me get everybody in. We're here located at the Great American Vapes. It is 4726 East Texas Street. Did you get that right? Your friend right there is going, oh, my God. I ain't going to say that. Buddha Bean Coffee, of course, helping sponsor. We appreciate those guys. A little bit more from them a little later, and they do a great job. They got a couple great locations. Major sponsor today, of course, is Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. They service this part of the state. He's a new business, but I tell you what, he's off and running. He's already got three vehicles out there to service people. Your sprinkler system, they take care of that. They do not. It does not matter who put it in or what kind it is. They can come in and service it. And by the way, they'll come in and do a free inspection. You can't beat that. It's about $150 value. Never worry about your sprinkler system again. ConservaIrrigation.com. ConservaIrrigation.com. Here's the number. It's 584-7155. 584-7155. Dodie Horton, our special guest, Representative Horton, and she keeps saying she's been on a program one time. Brandon says you called in before.
One time, yeah, I did. I called in.
See,
that's right.
You just like Brandon. Y'all trying to get me on one little bitty thing, and then I found out. Yeah, you ought to run for office. Never mind.
Okay, man.
Never mind, you're already in office.
You're my buddy.
Well, I had to make up for earlier, Moon. So I told you she had been on before.
You see what Brandon just said?
Yeah, I heard you, man.
Yeah, Brandon
that
wants me off of him and on you. That's all.
I'm old. My memory isn't what it is.
You come through the session. I mean, Alan Seabaugh in the house too. I'm going to visit with Al. I can't wait to visit with one of the losers. I was going to thank you, Moose. I don't consider you losers. I'm telling you what the leftist newspapers have put out about you guys.
Our taxpayers are the ones that lost, and we're given.
Here's a big question for you, and I'll ask Alan the same question. I just want to know what taxes he's coming back with next. I do not think the budget is solved. I do not think the situation goes away. It may work out for real. By the way, he's going to get beat. And by the way, before I go back to you, I got some numbers that are supposed to be released from the Hayride. And some of you people are going to go, wow. But I'm not surprised by the numbers. Let me find them. I just had it. I just shared them with you. Here it is. Yes. John Kennedy against John Bel Edwards. Kennedy 51, Bel Edwards 37. Okay? John Bel Edwards reelect numbers at 35. By the way, folks, I don't know for you people in here that do Common Core math, that ain't good. 37 residents thinks that we need to raise taxes. 36% think we need to raise taxes. That means 64% said no. And I think that's why he's in big trouble. I call him a one-term governor. I'm sticking to the facts. But I just want to throw those numbers out there because, he's the one driving the thing, and the media keeps telling him you're doing the right thing, and they keep calling Alan Seabaugh and you losers. Mm-hmm. Y'all didn't lose. The state lost, and you just said that.
Absolutely. Our taxpayers are given very little regard. And in Ways and Means, I'm constantly, along with several of my colleagues, fighting for the middle class. Whenever you have some representatives, and some are supposed to be Republican, come up with want to develop a low flat tax, and they tell you, when they tell you it's revenue neutral, and then it raises this X amount of money, your antenna immediately goes up. And I look for a certain income level, and the middle class always are the ones who have to bear the burden, and they always have, and that's what you're going to see coming next.
I remember when, Alan, how long you been in the legislature? You wasn't there for the original Stelly vote then. Okay. Original Stelly vote was very disheartening to me. They said it was revenue neutral. They said in the few years coming, it's going to raise a few $100 million more in taxes. Then last year, the year before last, when Edwards got in office, they started saying that the Stelly bill was producing $1 billion in new tax revenue. $1 billion. Mm-hmm. That number never came out of the mouth of anybody that pushed it. Mike Foster and that gang back then. And I remember how they got passed. We had a Republican Party. I'm just going to be blunt with you.
Sure.
Foster owned it. Republican renewal ran it. Pat Bristol was ahead of it. The Republican women, God bless them, I've spoken to every one of them all over the state. They were sucking in with Mike Foster going to the mansion to raise money every year. And Lobby backed off, and that's how Stelly got passed 51-49. Every market we were in, with the exception of Lake Charles, we beat the heck out of it. But we weren't in every market. And so that thing passed. And that was a bad deal. They never told us it was going to raise $1 billion.
It was very bad, and it was a bad vote. And people, when you have a coalition like Foster created, and the public is continually hammered, they don't question it. You think you should be able to trust your Republicans, but they're not. We're not all of the same Republican cloth. We're just not. So
you want me to name some of the other ones? I already have.
And so, whenever I was elected and went to Baton Rouge in the first delegation meeting we're asked for a show of hands of who wants to elect a Republican governor. I stood up and I thought I was in the twilight zone, because that was a no-brainer, right? And had to work very, very hard to do that. And so, they don't like someone who comes to Baton Rouge and forgets who they are and why they're there. But
it's funny. If you're supposed to represent your constituents, and I know that's private sector and government workers and everything, I understand that. But when you go down there, it seems like everybody starts to represent just the state government, or just their local governments, or just projects, not considering the taxpayers. We have a job problem here. We have our migration problem. I can't tell you what y'all doing in your market. I don't know if y'all booming here, holding your own, or what. But if you look at the overall state, it's not been good. And that's not the time you raise taxes.
No, you can't balance the budget on the backs of the taxpayers.
Let me ask you a question. If you were, and I ask this to anybody, if you're barely paying your bills, and I'm a business guy, there's times you barely pay your bills, there's other times you go, boy, I'm really good, look how smart I am. I never thought that. But anyway, but if you're barely paying your bills, is that the time to go buy a brand new vehicle? Or maybe get that boat you always wanted, or maybe lease a nice condo in Florida? Is that the time you do that?
No. That's when you stop buying deli meat and cut off your cable, and you cut off things that are not essential to the quality of your life. But we don't do that.
Somebody told me one time, have you ever eaten Spam? Yeah, those times are the times that I pull Spam out. Yeah. You fry it, you dice it with eggs, you cook it on a sandwich. I mean, that's what you do. Not in Louisiana. So here's the problem. If you never acknowledge what the problem is, which is spending,
yes,
you will never fix the problem.
Correct.
And if you never acknowledge the spending, give an example. I was reading today, big article, Trump's tax cuts are going to cause the deficits to rise and shut our economy down. There's a little truth to it. Let me tell you the truth to it. If you cut taxes and you don't cut spending, that's exactly what happens.
Well, absolutely.
And Ronald Reagan showed us that when they cut taxes, everything boomed. They had a lot more money coming in, but they were outspending what was coming in. Y'all have already seen the numbers.
Yes.
Since 2004, because I'm figuring post-Katrina and everything that goes in it, for about the last 14 years, our state government has grown twice that of our economy.
Yes, we are outgrowing. Spending the private sector 2-to-1. Our GD gross domestic product is at an all-time low, and everyone else in the nation is rising. And when Jindal, because of public demand, rescinded the part of the STELI that was so unfair to the middle class. At that time, the state budget should have been cut equally amount.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Should have been.
So
that was a big deal.
When conservatives and Republicans say let's cut the budget and cut government down, it's got to be both. If they want to do a tax break of whatever, just cut it down. And guess what? Here's what normally happens: the economy gets better. It actually puts more money in the coffers. But if you spend that too, you still have the problem.
Right.
It's a spending situation. Same thing in Washington. They're not going to quit spending. If they're not going to quit spending, the deficit and debt's still going to grow. And this is common sense stuff. Sure. If I can get this, anybody can get it. But elected officials seem not to understand it.
It broke my heart when after the bill passed, raising the $466 million in the third special, and the clapping and cheering from. How
about the floss?
Yeah,
floss dance, y'all. You got to learn how to do the floss.
My grandson showed me that. Brody's really good.
He already showed you
Yes.
He already showed you the floss.
Yes, he did. I thought, what the heck is that?
That was Senator Eric LaFleur was doing the floss dance. I'll be honest with you, I'm so out of touch with that kind of stuff. I said, what the hell was that?
I had no idea what
he made me look good. I wasn't doing that.
But, whenever that happened, I was sitting in my desk, biting back the tears, seeing my constituents' faces in my mind, and it broke my heart that anybody would think that was something to cheer about.
Yeah, let me take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline with the Great American Vape, 4726 East Texas. Boona Bean Coffee. Supposed to be some good stuff. And also our good friends, Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana, our big corporate sponsor today. That is conservairrigation.com. All right, we'll take a break. Another segment to go. We're going to squeeze Seabaugh in here. We're going to get David in here as well. So you're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Oh, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on the road again. We're here in beautiful Bossier City. Of course, in conjunction with Keel, our good friends at Keel and Town Square Media. We appreciate those folks. I think we've been here about 17, 18 years now, so we've been here a while. This is actually my 20th year to syndicate, starting with Lafayette and our good friends at KPL, and then my 25th year to be on the air in August. And so it's kind of a milestone for us. I know I'm like most people. I didn't think we'd make it 3 days, but we did. I think I started off, they guaranteed me 4 shows. 4 shows, 1 hour a day. I was after Rush Limbaugh. That was my guarantee. I still don't have a guarantee. So anyway, before we get to Alan Seabaugh, Representative Seabaugh, I know he's going to have a lot to say because I've been reading and we've had Alan on and I've talked to him in the past. I want to thank some people. We're sitting here at Great American Vapes, 4726 East Texas, and people are here all morning. They don't open at 10, but you'd think they were open by 8 o'clock. We appreciate everybody coming by and visit with us. Boona Bean Coffee, you heard the gentleman talking, Mr. David. BoonaBeanCoffee.com if you want to check it out. I'm going to get some for my bride before I leave. But our corporate sponsor today is Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. We've had Mr. Craig Ammons on. We're going to have him on again. He's the owner, small business owner, the guys that we love to see do really well. Sprinkles. If you're sprinkler system caretakers, let them come out and check it out. They'll come out and do it for free. Never worry about your sprinkler again. And conservairrigation.com. Conservairrigation.com is the website. And the phone number is real simple, 318, of course, area code 584-7155. And we appreciate them. We'll visit with him at least one more time before the program ends. Representative Alan Seabaugh, first of all, Alan, you come in here, I'm calling you loser and all that stuff, and I'm totally messing with you. The media and the press really went after certain people. And we're disappointed, man. I told a speaker, first of all, good morning.
Good morning, man.
I told a speaker yesterday, and I'm disappointed in a couple of things that he did because he was a speaker, and I felt like he had voted that way. By voting the way he did, he allowed some other people to go vote that way. The other thing was, though, is people like you and Harris, according to the press, and according to the press, Cameron Henry, maybe Blake, they kind of got after you guys and calling y'all losers, but they praise Barrow now because Barrow came over to that side. And I just wanted to know your feelings on that because I know there's some deeper things that maybe people don't know. But you guys got beat up pretty bad, and really shouldn't have, because you guys were right.
And we were right, and ultimately, at the end of the day, the governor got his bill passed, and he got the money. But if you go back to last year when he was demanding $1.2 billion, the first special in February where he was demanding $994 million, when we all knew that wasn't the number, and then the second special where the budget that the bill that I filibustered and killed at the end.
By the way, thank you for doing that. That was a blessing.
Well, the fiscal note on that one was $200 million more than the one that we ultimately passed. So every time that we said no, the number came down. And so at the end of the day, yeah, he got his bill passed, and we're not going to cut anything. But it's and we would like to have shaved a little bit off the top. But at the end of the day, over 3 battles, we won. One of the things that I thought was interesting is a little foreboding. The opening of the last special was on the anniversary of the Battle of Waterloo. And I kind of walked in and said, we've been winning, but I kind of don't think we're going to be able to pull this one off.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. The fight was so good and so long. Some of these folks just caved in at the end. Now, by the way, let me go back to the positive that you said. You just touched upon it. They started out wanting $1.2 billion. They got 500, but they really got a little more than that.
Yeah, because there was a couple that passed.
Well, they got a couple things passed, but the income tax that Donald Trump sent back to me went straight to Bell Edwards.
Correct.
So really, the tax increase that the state of Louisiana received was about $850 million.
Yeah,
can you argue with that?
No, that's absolutely correct. There's about a $350 million personal income tax increase that we didn't vote on. That happened as a result of the federal tax change.
But the state got the benefit of it.
The state got the benefit.
I just want people to know that.
People are going to pay more state income taxes because they're paying less federal income
So he
taxes.
wanted 1.2, so he got about 850. So really, he got a little close. Not that you had nothing to do with any of it, but you didn't have anything to do with the $350 million either, because of the way our deal is set up. If let's say Democrats win and they take that away, state's going to lose $350 million.
Yeah, and you brought the speaker up earlier, and you've got to keep in mind the Republican delegation, there's 20 members that are going to vote for every tax increase regardless of what it is. There's 20, roughly, that are going to vote no on everything, and there's about 20 in the middle that could go either way. And to a large extent, he was herding cats, and he was standing firm on we're not going to overspend. We're not going to raise a tax that gives any more money than last year. We're going to hold firm on the number. And, he got to the $495 million figure that he was comfortable with.
He said that yesterday.
He was consistent.
Actually, he came on a program, and he said they don't need more than $495 million. He said that before the session ever started.
Yeah, that was his number, and he was consistent. He voted for some of the smaller tax increases because he was trying to keep it under that certain threshold because he didn't want to grow government. So he was consistent on that. The last vote did give me some heartburn. We knew. We can count. We knew what was going on going in. But with some of the people that flipped, I don't believe that they flipped because they thought the tax increase was a good idea or was even necessary.
Yeah, that's why I brought back on the speaker. You got a guy like Bob Henskins. I know Bob. Bob doesn't have a lot of tax votes on his record. He was one of the ones I was a little shocked about. And I thought he was able to do it because the speaker stood forward and did it.
And I mean, I don't know. That's probably true. I didn't talk to Bob about that vote, but he had told me from the beginning that he was willing to vote for some tax increase, but not 0.5. And several people, Jack McFarland told me the same thing. I'm not willing to vote for a half cent. But they were consistent.
The thing I don't understand though is, I think a lot of Republicans had decided they'd vote for a quarter cent. If you go back and look, it started there. Edwards and them wanted a half. Mm-hmm. So how does a compromise get to be almost a half?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm compromising with you and we got the number 5 to play with, 2.5, half of that is a compromise. Me giving you almost everything you want. Hell, I like that compromise if I'm winning.
And it's really hard to say 0.45 doesn't round up to 0.5. It does. So, I mean, it's awful dadgum close. So, to a large extent, yeah, I mean, we wanted the Republican position, in my opinion, my position was we don't need tax revenue. And to prove that point, at the last day of the session, of Friday, the last day that we cast the vote, I could not get anybody on the House floor to take a bet on whether we were going to have a surplus. and everybody agreed, even people that voted for the tax agreed, we're probably going to have a surplus because of the
surplus normally comes from overtaxation.
But it will because they haven't factored in the internet tax. They haven't factored in the federal tax changes on corporate tax
all prices
collections.
are higher than what y'all figured.
And that's right. And they haven't factored in the price of oil. So there's several factors. The only debate in my mind is whether the surplus is higher or lower than $463 million that we just raised. What we ought to do going in next year, the question ought to be, what are we going to cut? $463 million is about the number of corporate tax collections. If you were to leave that tax in place and eliminate corporate income tax, that would be about a net wash. We could repeal the 0.45 and go back. We need to give the money back to the people who's in it. If there is a surplus, it needs to not get spent. It needs to be given back to the people of Louisiana because they got sold a bill of goods.
What's the chances of, let's say they came up with $400 million. Let's just throw a figure at you. What's the chances of Republicans sticking together, and the Senate won't, but the House sticking together on any of that stuff to make it happen?
Well, the House might, but with John Bell as governor, it isn't going to pass, and we all know that. That's why we need a new governor. And I think that's a great
But you need
issue.
a new Senate leader and all that stuff, too.
Well, we're going to have a new Senate leader
Thank
next
the
time
Lord
because he's
Jesus.
term limited. But, I don't know if the Senate's going to improve any. I don't think Barrow's going to get elected Senate president. But
I don't know. He's pretty tight to the Senate president. I'll talk to him in a minute about that. But, no, it's one of the things I want you to take people through. And I think you'd be great to do it because you were one of the guys they beat up on. Take us through the process of what you're all hearing and have to deal with every day if you were a person saying, I don't want to raise taxes. The type of people that were calling y'all. Because I believe y'all were hit by local municipalities, sheriff's departments. When Bell Edwards is out there going from every entity saying we're going to shut the hospitals down. I mean, Greg Tarver's so embarrassing it's not even funny. We're going to shut all the hospitals down. None of that was going to ever happen, as I predicted. David Calicott, who was a CEO of a hospital, came on my program twice. And I like David. David's a really good man. I know he's a hard worker, but he came on begging for money. We ain't getting no money. We got no fund. I said, David, I bet you anything you want to bet. You're going to be funded 100%. Just do me a favor. Come back on the program after you get your money. I ain't heard from him. You're going to come on the program when you think you're not going to get any money, knowing damn good and well they were going to give him the money. Right. And then all of a sudden you got the money, and that's what people do to me. Then they run away.
Well, I think the governor's credibility started taking a hit when he said we're going to not have college football, that we're going to kick grandma out of the nursing home.
That was the first day he got in office.
Right. And then we're going to kick your grandmother out of the nursing home. I mean, it's one misinformation. It's one sky is falling, Chicken Little story after another. And none of that has ever happened, and none of it was ever going to happen because none of it was necessary. I think most people in Louisiana have figured it out. You asked me what we went through on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm talking about the calls and the people that hit y'all up.
It was about 8-1 favorable. I did hear from all the people, asking for money, and they were all heads of some organization. But the individuals who reached out to me on their own behalf, with the exception of Please Fund TOPS, because I have kids in college, just about every individual that reached out to me said, keep standing strong. I appreciate what you're doing. We don't need to pay more taxes. And I've got thousands of emails to that effect. And, I would say there are 8 or 9-1 positive saying, please keep going. You're doing the right thing. One of the interesting things, I had, after the filibuster, at the end of the second special, I obviously got a lot of phone calls then. I had more phone calls outside of Shreveport and Bossier area. I had more calls from Ruston telling me thank you than from anywhere else other than the state.
Rob Shadwell?
Because
his office? I ain't raising taxes.
Well, people in Ruston know they don't have representation.
And they don't have any representation.
And they know what Rob's doing. And so, I had 30, 40 phone calls from Ruston saying, thank you for standing up. Thank you for not raising our taxes.
I can see, if I was in Ruston, I'd be saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. We don't have any representation. Our guy is out to lunch. I don't even know if he's
I
back
didn't
in the
delete
country.
the messages. I still have them.
Yeah, by the way, let's take a break. One more segment with you. I want to bring Barrow in. We got to bring my corporate sponsors back in as well during the course of this next 30, 45 minutes that we have. Alan Seabaugh, one of the good guys. I'm going to get to the bad guy. Barrow knows I'm friends with him, and I'm going to mess with him. But I do want to ask him some questions, too. So Senator Barrow Peacock will join in here, and I'm not going to whistle. You think I'm not going to whistle? I'm going to whistle when you come on and make it kind of look good. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show in Bossier City at the Great American Vapes, 4726 East Texas. Come on out and been having a good time. You can taste some Boona Bean Coffee, which, by the way, I need a bag of that, guys. Just tell me how much these elected officials are going to chip in for me today as their cost of doing business with me. I'm joking. I want to get a bag for my bride. We want to thank Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana, your sprinkler system caretakers. It doesn't matter who put it in. If you're having a problem, this gentleman right here, Mr. Craig Ammons, is a guy you need to talk to. Never worry about your sprinkler system again. Never. I'm going to bring him back on in just a little bit and let you hear a little bit more about his company. But he can get you taken care of. And, by the way, he'll do an inspection. He'll come out and do an inspection for free, about $150 value normally. So, hey, you can't beat that. Here's their number, 584-7155, conservairrigation.com. Here's a big question, Alan, just because I'm curious. What new taxes are you going to bring up next year during an election year? I mean, why not?
I don't know.
By the way, the tax session is next year. You don't have to have special session.
On the one hand,
what about fees? Fees, people don't realize how much fees we pay, too.
Well, no, that's true. On the one hand, I'd be kind of surprised if they do have another fight like this year in an election year, even though next year is a fiscal session. But on the other hand, if they continue to budget the way they have with the continuation budget that requires a 3 to 5% increase every year, that requires a $300 to $500 million tax increase every single year just to keep up with the continuation budget. So if they continue to budget, if the governor continues to budget the way he has, he's going to have to ask for a tax increase next year, unless the surplus is a lot bigger than we're expecting, and maybe it'll make up for it. I don't think he wants to ask for a tax increase next year. That's why they went for broke this year. And I think overtaxed everybody to create the surplus so that going into next year, I mean, some of his items next year, he's going to try to push a pay increase for teachers. He's got some election year.
I think everybody in state government get a pay raise.
Well, he's got some election year agenda that he's going to try. I would be surprised if he lacks the political acumen to see that a fight like this year on taxes next year in a re-election would be a really, really bad idea. But he's done nothing but make political mistakes since the night he got elected. So, I mean, if he had not pushed Walt Leger for Speaker, if he'd have picked a liberal Republican for Speaker, he'd be running roughshod over the House like he's running over the Senate, and we wouldn't be having these discussions.
Yeah, it's just a concern. I know you say they won't. But I
noticed,
they
won't. I noticed,
but they can go to fee increases, and a lot of people don't pay attention to them. Example, they passed a sales phone tax. Mm-hmm. It wasn't much, y'all. It was, what was it, 2 cents, 4 cents, 4 and a quarter, 4.5 made 5. Don't sound like much because it's not. But in the big picture, it's still a little bit more money. Mm-hmm. Those are the type of things they'll pass next year that most people never pay attention. I can't follow all that stuff. I mean, I'd love to tell you I can follow everyone. I can't.
No, you're probably right. We increased the tax from 4% to 4.5%, and then the cell phone provider says we can't charge 4.5%, so we upped it to 5%. And again, I voted.
You noticed you didn't lower it to 4%?
No, we tried.
Why couldn't you lower it to 4%?
No, we tried. Dodie and I, in Ways and Means, we actually tried. And by the way, I want to thank you for coming to North Louisiana. And I got to shout out my bride, Laura, is here.
By the way, and I've met her before, and I apologize because I've seen her around before.
Well, she came. She didn't come to see me. She came to see her favorite state representative, and that's Dodie Horton.
No. I got to tell you, she's seen me as much as you because she ain't seen you. You've been in Baton Rouge.
No, I haven't been in my law office since February, so. At some point, I'm going to have to venture back to work and get back used to it. But, you know, it is difficult on families. We do spend a lot of time. And, you know, I still have kids at home. And
I know some people went on vacation, some reps or senators. The representatives said, hell with it, I'm going. They left. They had enough.
No, we had the 2 weeks between the end of the second special and the third special. We got 2 vacations out of that, so we did good.
One of the things to look for too, what's going to happen with the economy? GDP is down, and I don't see how it comes back up at this point because if you look at what the legislature did, what did they fix? Out of all the stuff we did, what did we fix?
We didn't do anything to make anything better, and we're the only state in the nation with GDP going down 2 years in a row. We're the only southern state losing population. We're the only southern state that keeps raising taxes, and not coincidentally, we're the only southern state with a liberal Democrat governor. All of that matters, and all of that factors in, and there's absolutely no reason to give business or anybody else confidence that things are going to get better in Louisiana until John Bell's gone.
By the way, you guys, when y'all see Robert Adley got on Kiel and said, if we can stabilize our budget. I know a company in Texas that will move here, that wants to move here. Well, they claim they stabilized the budget. I need Robert Alley to tell us the name of that company.
Yeah, good luck.
My prediction is you'll never get the name of that company.
But
if he does, I want to know the company that's moving from Texas to here, and why.
Robert makes things up
as he goes.
Yeah, he probably forgot he said that because he's told so many lies since.
I'll be honest with you. I've never seen anybody spend more stuff than he does. I mean, he makes J. Dart and John Bell look like little babies. Anyway, thank you, Alan. Appreciate it. Representative Alan Seabaugh, one of the winners, despite what you read from the legislative session. All right, we'll be back. Conservative Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana, big sponsor today. We do appreciate those guys. We'll visit with them later. Peacock's in the not the hot seat, the cold seat. Come on, we're going to have some fun. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. I love when they can have fun and smile like I do. All right. I can't even whistle no more. That's pitiful. Senator Barrow, would you whistle for me?
Whistle while we work. and welcome to Bossier City, home of Senate District 37 in Shreveport. I mean, it's good to have you on Kill Radio. And I have to tell you, Robert and Aaron in the morning, who you were on there this morning, they do a great job keeping us informed, and thank you for what you do across our great state.
All right, Barrow, but I got beef with you. You voted. Why you? Let me ask you a question. You're supposed to be a conservative. I know you voted against budgets in the past. Why voting for this budget? Please don't tell me just to go home.
Well,
because I read that. I'm voting to get the hell out of here. And I'm going, don't vote like that. Vote for the right reason.
Well, when I get to Baton Rouge, I'm there to work. I mean, it's a long way from Shreveport, Bossier down to Baton Rouge. Now, you're talking about the budget overall.
No, I'm talking about what just passed was the taxes. It was about $500 million in taxes, give or take a few bucks.
There were versions of this I voted against. There was the last version I voted for. One thing that when you look at the details of these tax bills, and something that happened 2.5 years ago, is things that are added into these bills that you really need to watch. Like when it first came through the Senate in the second special session, they wanted to start taxing installation services. Those are things that aren't taxed. And they said, oh, well, that'll just be Lowe's and Home Depot. That'll be when someone's putting in the air conditioning in their house. That would be an attack on our chemical industry when they're doing an installation on a big job. Also, when the House version, they wanted to put in a tax on things exclusively used in other states. Well, you would have car dealerships in Louisiana never selling a vehicle to someone in Wascom, Texas, or outside of our state. So there were things that you had to look at. This version of the bill that came through, there were things in that were wins for us. We're not going to tax manufacturing machinery and equipment anymore, which is good. We need to have job producers in our state, and that's something that was that. We're not going to be taxing rebates anymore when you buy a car. Currently, after that was done done through real quick, someone goes to get a rebate, they're paying a sales tax on that deal or rebate. That's not good. So there are things in this. I didn't like having to vote for this sales tax. But the one thing I will say...
You sound like Rob Shadwan.
I know.
I ain't room for that. Why the hell vote for him?
But if there's a tax, everybody pays it. Everybody pays it.
I've heard the argument. I understand that.
And that is some... we got into this budget, and you need to look at the cost drivers of our budget and the reform measures that get defeated along the way. I've had retirement reforms coming through. Every single year I have a retirement bill coming through, whether it's to consolidate or go to a new retirement plan.
Passing?
They're not passing, but they need to pass if you're going to control your budget.
I'm not arguing with that, but let me go back to something. You mentioned the things that didn't get taxed. Let me tell you who did get taxed. The individuals. You got to realize that all taxes, if this business, let's just take this business. Let's take this corporate sponsor irrigation system. Right. If the irrigation system has to pay another $20,000 this year for whatever taxes, he's got to move that along to me. The people that were taxed were the private sector. The people that were taxed were individuals. The people that were taxed were middle class. So what you voted on was against the middle class, the guy that walks in here and uses the services they provide here. And Barrow, let me tell you something. We've been having a spending problem for years, and not a lot of y'all see that. And if you can't get the reforms through, I mean, we're not going to change anything. And if you can't get them, can't get them through with, but y'all supported Alario. I read a deal. One of the big winners they posted, John Alario. The son of a gun's been there for 46 years. last in education, last in roads, last in economy, last in income. I can go on and on. That ain't a leader. The guy's been, y'all put this guy at front. That vote right there told me a lot about you and the rest of the senators. All of them. They vote for Hilario, and we don't move forward. You think this session moved us forward?
No, the special session, no.
The whole year.
No.
Well, but you voted that way to say we moved it forward, and I'm telling you, this lady was taxed, and she was taxed, and I was taxed. I'm a very middle-class guy.
We didn't move it forward, but there's things that we need to do in our state of the cost drivers. Blade Morris had a bill on the Senate floor, an amendment to reform TOPS a little bit. It failed. There are bills, like I said, as retirement. Those are failing. Until we start addressing those cost drivers in our budget, we have a problem. You talked about next year's surplus. Our Medicaid contracts and Medicaid costs are continuing to go up and up and up. Those are our cost drivers, and those are the big number cost drivers.
Don't you agree with me or disagree? Medicaid has caused us to have a negative GDP. We've had to take so much money from out of the private sector to keep up with Medicaid, and the fact is that, by the way, there was a report today, and I wrote it down. Let me make sure I can find out. I got to go back. There was a big report on Medicaid that came out today, and I'm going to find it before you leave. Greg Hillman has a piece, and I don't like to deal with fraud.
Fraud. We're not addressing, and when
but nobody addresses with that. There's 84,000 people on the payroll for Medicaid. I say payroll. 84,000 people receiving Medicaid that's not even qualified. Bel Air won't adjust to that. So this is my point I want to make to you. If you vote along with him on the budget, you're agreeing with him. Well, you really are, because you're saying, hey,
you can
we
say
don't have
that, but also,
but that's what you're voting on, Barrow.
If you don't have a budget, you have a government shutdown. I don't want to see us have a government shutdown in our state.
You mean to tell me they couldn't have adjusted the budget the first 6 months and say we're fully funded?
They should. I mean,
they couldn't have done that?
Through the process,
and let's see what come in.
But at the end, when it comes down to a vote, do I want to make a vote to say I want to shut down government? Do I not want to fund July 1 our operation
I don't think
of our
government? Let me tell you what else you bought into. I'm saying you now. It's a lot of people, a lot of Republicans in the Senate. 33 votes. 33 people vote for that. Ron Gaddy and Milkovich didn't vote for it because they're getting waxed up here by people that are tired of them. I forget the other person that didn't vote for it. I wanted to mention, but it's not important. What's happening is, by you supporting the budget, you're basically saying we're heading in the right direction. And I'm telling you, there's not a person here that hasn't seen the rankings of everything. Louisiana, look around you. Look around the people here. We got so many good people here. I'm tired of losing. And and look, I got all my kids are here right now. I'm one of the fortunate ones. There's a lot of people that kids are getting up and getting out of here.
We're not, when you're saying heading, I don't agree that we're heading in the right. And one of the things, when LSU...
But you go in the same direction, Senator Peacock. That's what I'm saying.
I voted for a budget to keep government going. It's not a budget. A budget is one bill. It is no one, I would say, is very happy overall with the budget. I mean, no one is 100% happy with the budget. It is the document for funding our government. It keeps our government open. But we have to change things in our state. Why does LSU have their biggest alumni chapter in Houston, Texas? Because the jobs are in Houston. And we have to change that.
The vote y'all made did not change the jobs creation. It didn't change the GDP. It didn't change our economy. None of that. When I hear the budget has to be stable, Robert Alley's one of the ones that goes around and said, man, we can stabilize our budget. I know a company in Texas that wants to move here. Well, name the company, Robert.
Right.
Now, Robert's not going to name any company because he's full of boop, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, I'm more concerned with our local businesses here in Shreveport, Bossier, and Lake Charles because of a tax bill that we passed that we tax Louisiana businesses doing business and tax twice. We get taxed in Texas, and then we tax.
But hold up. Let me tell you this, and we're getting ready to have to break.
Right.
And I'm going to have to go because I want to bring our guys back on. But when you vote for Hilario, these guys in the House fought, and they're getting run over. When you vote for John Hilario, all the things you're saying to be done, why hadn't he championed any of that? That's not a cut on you. It's a cut on him. But you voted for him.
Well,
why didn't you vote for a conservative guy in the Senate? Not just you. Everybody voted for him. Why we didn't find somebody who really cares about the state, not themselves? Because I'm going to tell you, that's a very selfish man in my book. And y'all keep putting him there. And if he's such a leader, why are we lasting everything? The guy's been a leader for 46 years. We still keep voting for the man.
Well, he is the president of the Senate. I will say
because y'all put him there.
Well, that's correct. Operational wise of our legislature, of the Senate, communicating with senators. He does a fantastic job. He does operational of the Senate and communicating the function of the Senate. He understands the process better than anybody, and he communicates with all the senators.
But he doesn't understand jobs and businesses and what we have to do to make this state better. This lady over here is with the Chamber of Commerce, and I know her. I guarantee if I pull her to the side, she might not say it on the air, but businesses are struggling. They need help. They don't need a check. They need breaks. They need lower taxes and lower regulation. That's why Texas is kicking our rear end.
But we also need to make sure that a big industry down the street named Bossier Parish Community College is funded because of the people who work there and the students who go there, and they pass this business going back and forth every day.
Well,
so it's both ways. I understand your point.
I know this in the private sector, and I'm down in the Horton oil and gas industry. They didn't cut their budget. They cut the whole dang business out.
Right. But I'm back to those cost drivers, whether it's Medicaid contracts, retirement, or TOPS. Let's start reforming those cost drivers in our budget so we can get control over it. We can't.
But what you're telling me is leadership, and you put the wrong guy at the president.
Well,
because all that stuff that you're telling me sounds good, but he didn't do it.
But everybody has a vote. And when those votes don't, when you don't get those votes.
I said that about 10 times. It's not just you, but you're one of the few that helped put him there. Senator Barrow, Peacock, we're just going to agree to disagree on some of this. I got to take a break.
Good to have you here.
Thank you for coming by, though. I respect that in you, and I do appreciate it.
Hey, and work on your whistle.
I can't. I laugh too much every time I do it now. Craig, again, in just a few minutes. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hello, welcome, Moon Griffon Show, on the road again, and boy, I tell you what, I'm in Bossier City, of course, Bossier, Shreveport area, conjunction with our good friends at Town Square Media and our friends at Keel Radio. We've been broadcasting for about 17, 18 years now. We are on the road, and they really did a great job of putting this together because I had to come here for something else, and I let them know kind of late, but they did find a great place to do the program. We are at the Great American Vapes, 4726 East Texas. We'll be here, East Texas Street, should I say. We'll be here until 11 o'clock. You can come on by and say hi to you. Love to say hi and meet you. I know Alan Seabaugh, Dodie Horton will come by. Daniel Erspalmer is going to join us as well. But the program's actually being brought to you by Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. And they are actually sponsoring the program and paying a dime, and we do appreciate those guys for jumping on late. Your sprinkler system caretakers, we're going to get to the owner of the company in just a second, but I do want to thank the area, Bossier, Shreveport area. This has been such a good area for us, and we're really grateful to be here. So if you have a chance to come on by, the Great American Vapes is located on 4726 East Texas, and I tell you what, we're going to visit with those guys. Boona Bean Coffee, I hope I've said that right. Boona Bean Coffee is also one of our big sponsors, and we'll visit with those guys a little later in the program as well. Let you tell you a little bit about what they do, about a great coffee that the gentleman has. And you can get it online if you're not in this area. He can tell you where you can get it in this area, so we appreciate those guys as well. All right, we're going to jump gears. I expect Alan Seabaugh maybe in the next segment, Dodie Horton a little later. Daniel Erspalmer with the Pelican Institute will join us. So we got a program that's going to move. But we want to visit with the people that are putting it on, and that's the people that are paying for it. Craig Ammons joins us. He's the owner of Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. First of all, good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Moon.
Well, get that mic a little higher for me, bud. All right, now let's try that again.
Good morning, Moon. How about that?
I made him say it twice. Nobody never tells me that twice. Anyway, Craig, good to be. By the way, and you probably noticed from listening to the program, I love pushing businesses. I think what makes our state and country great is a small business entrepreneur guy. And you into a new deal, but something that you understand and you know real well. I've always loved to see people go out on their own, and basically that's what you did. I mean, you were working, I think you said for the Sheriff's Department?
That's correct.
And now all of a sudden you're a business owner.
That's right, Moon. I've always wanted to be my own business owner. Did it a while back, over 20 years ago.
Wow.
And had a great career at the Sheriff's Office, but it was time to move on, and I found the irrigation business to be where I needed to be at.
Okay, now you do a little bit of different things. Let's talk a little bit about your business and exactly what do you do, because everybody's irrigation is a little different than somebody else. So let's talk about in general, what do you do? What does your business do and what service you provide?
Well, Moon, we are focused on the conservation side, hence the name, Conserva.
Yeah.
We're trying to save people on their water bills, but keeping their lawns healthy and green. There's several different techniques we use, but the most important thing is we listen to our customers, and we do what our customers need done. We make sure their irrigation is watering what needs to be watered and make sure everything's working properly.
So y'all actually go in and install systems?
We do, but that's not what we're focused on.
Okay.
We're focused on irrigation systems that are already there that need to be need some love and care.
Need some service.
They need some service.
Yeah, by the way, that's something we don't do. I had an irrigation system in Monroe, and basically I'm telling you, and you may agree or disagree, but you got to get those things serviced every 6 months, every year. If you don't, when you go to use them the next year, sometimes something can mess up on them.
They have to be serviced, and we get calls all the time because the backflow preventers are busted due to freezing. You know, you think in the South, we're in the South, we don't have to do anything to that.
Oh, yeah, you do. I had a pipe go out last year. It wasn't fun.
They still freeze because they're above the ground. But, you know, it doesn't take a lot, but they have to be serviced. And
so you can take anybody's current irrigation system at a house, say, or business, and go in and help them service it.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do it for you. We come out and provide free inspections. So we'll walk through your whole system with a free inspection, and we'll give you the paperwork at the end, and we'll explain it all to you and give you different options on what we can do.
Do you put sprinkler systems in as well?
We do, but we kind of limit that to the fall time.
Okay.
We try
That's not what you're doing now. You're servicing and helping people get ready up and running right
That's right. I mean, we are doing one right now, but it was a special deal. But we try to push that all off to the fall, the installation.
Do you and by the way, you mentioned here y'all proud partners with the Toro Company. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I've been to the Toro factory. Toro just has the best products on the market right now, in my opinion. They're more energy efficient. They use less water. They're simple to operate. You don't have to read a manual to understand how to operate them. You know, that's one of the big things. Their technology is just superior right now. They got wireless weather sensors. You know, it's going to read the temperature. It tells the system when to turn your system on or how long to run it. And proper run time on a sprinkler system is what it's about.
Probably very important. And you mentioned here there's a lot of water situations. Really, there's water situations everywhere.
Everywhere.
With people, you get hot, you get dry, water becomes a problem, and you're trying to, conserve irrigation. You're trying to help people spend less money on their water.
That's right. I come across people all the time that have turned their systems off because they got a high water bill. So, I mean,
and I can understand that sometimes. It gets so hot and dry, and people are turning on and on and on, and it just...
That's right. I got this outrageous bill, and so I just went out there and turned it off. Well, that's fine if you don't want a healthy lawn. If you don't want your green lawn or your flowers to live, that's okay. But if you're worried about your lawn, having a beautiful lawn, pretty flowers, they have to be watered. They have to be watered to stay healthy. And we can come out there and show you how to run that thing, but also maybe reduce that water bill a little bit.
Now, it's conservairrigation.com. Am I saying that right?
That's right.
Okay, and that's the website they can go to?
That is.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
People will want to know, because we're here in Shreveport, Bossier, the area you cover. Now, somebody listening in Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Ellick, and Monroe, that's probably out of your jurisdiction today.
It really is. The Shreveport-Bossier area is what we're focused on.
A little bit outside.
A little bit outside. We go to Menden, Keithville, Blanchard, Benton.
Sure. It's in the area, an outside area.
Caddo, Bossier Parish, Webster Parish, DeSoto Parish, mainly. Mainly those four parishes is what we're focused on.
So, and the thing about it is when you go in to see someone, you don't really care what kind of system they have.
I don't care.
That's not that you could care less. You
that's
going
right.
in, because I know what happens with these things. People will buy a system. They may get it from somebody that's out of business. Right. They may buy it from somebody, and then a year later, they're having problems, and they really don't know who to call.
Right.
That's where you're saying you step in with your company. I know you already built up the 3 trucks that out there all the time servicing people. So you can get to a lot of people, but people look for somebody to call, and they don't really know who to call to get help.
You know, a lot of companies are focused on the install. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're installing, and their primary thing is not going back and working on the systems.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to go through an install. Well, we try to optimize their systems when it needs to.
Yeah. So but basically, somebody has a problem with a system, a sprinkler system, all kind. By the way, one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I know you do individuals and households, do you do commercial?
Absolutely.
In other words, your banks, your hospitals, whatever business, parking lots and things of that nature, people that got a lot of grass and irrigation systems.
Absolutely, we do. In fact, I drive around sometimes, and you see sprinkler heads broke, spraying in the middle of the day. They're spraying the parking lot. Parking lot's full.
I've seen that, too.
And
I like when they come on when it's raining.
Yeah, all the time.
I can't help it. It's the funniest thing. Going down the road, it's storming, and you pass somebody, and the sprinkler system works really nice, and they got about a 2-inch rain.
and why is your system coming on at lunchtime every day? That's the worst time you can run that thing. You know, you don't need to be running it when the sun's beating down. But I'll take pictures of these busted heads, and I'll go to a business and say, you know, you got a busted head out there, and it's a lot of these businesses just don't seem to be concerned about it. But the thing is, it's getting to the right person because people are concerned. But and a lot of times these businesses, they say, well, so and so takes care of that. You know, we don't own the business, we don't own the building. You know, that's handled by the property manager, so they're not worried about it. But all the time, I mean, just drive around and see these sprinkler systems running, and they're broke.
Well, you're a young and up and coming business. You've already got 3 trucks out there already roaming around helping people. It's conservairrigation.com. Here's the number. It's 318-584-7155. 318 area code 584-7155 and conservairrigation.com. So it's pretty simple. People can get in touch with you that way.
That's right, man.
All righty. Well, look, we're going to visit with you again, Craig. Thank you so much. We'll do it again. Thanks for sponsoring the program today.
Thank you, man.
And we do appreciate it. And so we got to take our first break. We're at the Great Americans Vapes, 4726 East Texas. Boona Bean Coffee. I just want to make sure I say that right, brother. Boona Bean Coffee. I kind of like the sound of that. People like the sound and the taste. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. We are expecting a couple of elected officials to come by and talk about a little bit of what happened in the session. We'll visit with Boona Bean Coffee as well. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. All right. Oh, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. And, of course, we are at the Great American Vapes, of course, 4726 East Texas. Really unique place right here, folks. You need to check them out. We'll get to my coffee gentleman in a minute, but we want to thank our corporate sponsor, which is Conserva Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana. They're located right here in Bossier City, Louisiana. The number is 584-7155. I highly recommend you, folks. Good small business people working hard every day to service people. ConservaIrrigation.com, your sprinkler system caretakers. Don't worry about what kind of sprinkler you have in. Call these guys to maintain, because right now I can promise you they're trying to conserve water just like you, and they can show you how to get it done. It's a free inspection, valued at $150, so they'll come out and evaluate everything that's going on with your sprinkler. And if you're having problems, I don't care if you're a commercial or a individual. Our good friends, Craig Ammons, will take care of it. He's the owner. He's a small business owner. He's just like me and you out there every day trying to make a living. They're working their fannies off to service you. The next gentleman, though, is David Hanson, and Alan Seabaugh is going to join us in a minute. Barrow Peacock's in the house. We'll squeeze him in as well. David Hanson with Boona Bean Coffee. And by the way, first of all, young man, another guy in business trying to make it. First of all, good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
I see y'all bragging about your coffee because your coffee must be really good.
Yeah, I mean, we won Best Coffee in Louisiana 2 years in a row.
Did you really?
So you don't beat that.
That's awesome. Now, you just located here, though. You got 2 locations, right?
Yeah, we've got 2 locations, more like 2.5, because we have the coffee truck that goes all over the place, all kinds of festivals. You can book us for weddings, any kind of event that you have going on. We get booked out for all kinds
Will you go anywhere or just here?
We'll service Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas.
So good. You go anywhere. Somebody in Lafayette or Thibodaux or Slidell wants you to come in. That's a good deal. Is it BoonaBeanCoffee.com? BOONA Bean.
Coffee.com. Yep.
Okay. And so talk about this. Now, somebody listening going, man, I tell you what, there are people that really like to try different coffees. There are people that like their coffee. They only want one kind. They got to drink anymore.
That's right.
But somebody looking to try you, how can they get in touch with you?
The best way is through the website, or you can come in if you're local here in Bossier City or Shreveport. Come into Great American Vapes on East Texas over here. They do BOGO, buy one, get one free vapes on Wednesdays, or buy one, get one free juice for your vapes on Wednesdays. And then we've got a coffee bar in here that's absolutely fabulous. They can serve our whole menu.
Everybody's up there drinking coffee.
Everybody's up there grabbing it right now. We got
Actually, you open at 10 o'clock in the morning here.
Here they open at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I figured coffee, and when I drove up, I thought, wow, coffee people like to get up at 5.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a different type place.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. So the website again?
BoonaBeanCoffee.com. And then if we got a second, I'd love to tell you the story on
Go
how we
ahead.
got started.
Yeah, because this is a young, how old are you?
I'm 24.
24, and how long you been in business?
I've been in business about 2.5 years.
Say, man, it's a young man right here. This is the kind of people in Louisiana you want here. And I'm being honest. We want you here. Yeah. You're an entrepreneur. You're out there busting your fanny. Talk a little bit about this. Tell me the story.
So I'm still active duty Air Force. I've got about 8 months left in my contract. But when I decided that I wanted to move on and that I'd serve my time for my country and move on and continue something else out.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate that. So me and my wife, she came to me one day and she said, man, we should open up one of these drive-through coffee shops like we have back home. I was like, that'd be an excellent idea. So I was like, well, let's test the water. I'm from Idaho.
Okay. Golly, and you stayed down here.
We stayed down here for some reason with all the heat.
No, we don't hear many people moving here. We love it.
Right. So I was like, you know what, let's test it out first. So we came up with we got with Louisiana Roasting Company. They roast all our coffee for us here locally in Shreveport.
I like that.
So most of the time when you have our coffee, it's less than a week old after being roasted.
Wow.
That's kind of our little trademark secret that works out really well for us. And then we got with them. They came up with a good roast for us, and we worked really well together. And then I got a table and a little pop-up and a coffee pot, and we started serving coffee on the side of a Cross Lake boat ramp for one of the bass tournaments, local bass tournaments out there. Then we started getting into some of the Bossier City Farmers Market, the Shreveport Farmers Market, that kind of stuff. Then we got into the coffee truck. As I went in there, I'd made a little bit of rank, and I was like, I'm going to buy a new Nissan Titan. And then I saw the coffee truck, and I was like, we're going to buy a coffee truck.
And that's the coffee truck I'm looking at right now.
Okay. Right out there. So we got that all set up. I'd never been a barista until I bought my first espresso machine and dropped a bunch of money in it, and just learned on YouTube and Google, and away I went. And a lot of our menus came from other people. Like,
I love your attitude. You got a big smile on your face. You're working everybody. And I really do. That's really what you got at. And you got to get up and go. Now, you're from the military. You know all about get up and go.
Absolutely.
But that's what it takes. Young people like you coming back saying, I'm going to stay in Louisiana. We're going to make it happen here. I don't want them to run you to Texas.
Yeah, the market here is really open compared to back home in Idaho. In Idaho, there's a coffee shop on every single corner. Starbucks is getting run out of town by the local guys, which is a good thing.
By the way, a great thing. Not a good thing, a great thing.
Yeah. So the local guys back home are doing really well, and if I were to move home and try, it'd be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, but you don't have to stay here. We want you to stay in the fight with us.
Oh, yeah. We'll be here. We'll be here for a long time.
People that want to try the coffee anywhere in the state, and by the way, I want to buy one before I leave.
Okay.
So I need to get one before I leave because I'll bring it back. My wife's a gigantic coffee drinker.
She'll love it.
What's the website again?
BoonaBeanCoffee.com. That's BOONA. BOONABEAN coffee.com.
Yeah, can't beat that, folks. And you want to give a young man an opportunity to try it because there are people listening that will go. They like trying different coffees, and that's who you're looking for. You're looking for the person who's not settled on just one.
Don't
coffee.
settle on your coffee. I mean, we've competed against Community Coffee, Rhino Coffee, a lot of the big names. CC's Coffee House. We absolutely destroyed them last year when they showed up to try to compete against us. We almost doubled the amount of votes that they had at that contest. So
that's a pretty good deal because normally you don't know who
Yeah.
Whose coffee you're drinking, I guess, when they do a contest like that. They don't ever say this product, that product. You put it out there and let people drink it.
Everybody got to know whose was whose, and we won by popular vote. I think the votes for us was like 42, and then the next closest was Rhino Coffee at I think that 14 or something like that. So made
you feel pretty good for a young man jumping in the coffee business.
I only had the coffee truck for 2 months, and we went out there and annihilated them. Multi-million-dollar companies just couldn't stand a chance.
I love it. But, that's America. That's the American dream, getting out there, starting your company from scratch. The gentleman right here that's sponsoring this, Craig, Amon's in Conservative Irrigation, Northwest Louisiana. Same dream, same goal as you, a little older. I just said a little older, Craig, not much. You got a young lady working for you, so that balances it out. But that's how all dreams start, and I love the attitude, man, because that's what you have to have when you're especially a young person. And then you gain wisdom as you grow.
Absolutely.
And it looks like that's what you're doing, and you're doing both. And I wish you the best of luck in the business.
I appreciate
that. I hope you have 40. I hope you have locations all over the state.
Oh yeah, we're working towards it.
All right. Once again, the email address. The website again.
BunaBeanCoffee.com.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
David's one of the sponsors here today too, as well. We appreciate him putting up with us. And when they sent the deal to me where we were going, Buna Bean Coffee. And I thought, wow. Now, I never heard of it, but some other people had heard of it. And I said, well, let me go check it out. So we got here, and it's a totally different place. Gentleman right there, your partner in crime, really nice guy. And this is a unique place. So anyway, we're here at 4726 East Texas. We're at the Great American Vapes. They do sell Buna Bean Coffee right here, too. So if they come on out right now, they can try it right now, can't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're actually open at 10 o'clock, even though y'all been doing business because of people.
We're a little early this morning because we got the show going on in here, but
well, anyway, we appreciate both of y'all. And, of course, Conservative Irrigation of Northwest Louisiana, conservairrigation.com for all you sprinkling needs. All right, I think we're going to have to take a break. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.